The middle-aged woman started collecting the trash without making eye contact, merely nodding slightly in acknowledgement. Unsure of what to say, I observed the middle-aged woman for a while until Jun blurted out, "Hey lady, what are you planning?" The middle-aged woman abruptly stopped her work and hung her head in silence. Jun continued, "You remember me, don't you? Don't I even deserve an apology?" I was taken aback by Jun's sudden aggressive tone. The middle-aged woman murmured in a soft voice without looking up, "I'm sorry." Jun, seemingly surprised by her straightforward apology, glanced at me with a puzzled look. I asked, "Lady, are you truly sorry?" Turning to us, the middle-aged woman said, "I am truly sorry. Because of what I did, Jun, you ended up in this accident. It's all because I did those things. I'm really sorry." Jun and I were even more bewildered. Was there some misunderstanding? I clarified, "No, I mean, back when you did terrible things to dogs, showed up at my house, everything included." The middle-aged woman responded, "I'm truly sorry. If only I hadn't done such things, this accident wouldn't have happened. I'm so sorry." She seemed on the verge of tears. The entire room, having listened to the conversation, turned their gaze toward us, creating a tense silence only broken by the middle-aged woman's apologies. "I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm so sorry." Jun, a bit embarrassed, dismissed it. "It's all right. Anyway, my accident has nothing to do with you." The middle-aged woman continued to bow repeatedly as she collected the trash from Jun's bed and hurriedly left the room after one final, "I'm sorry." The room remained filled with an awkward atmosphere for a while after she left. Jun, trying to break the tension, said, "What's with that lady? I just had a normal accident. What's she misunderstanding?" He hit his pillow in frustration. Watching the middle-aged woman's actions and hearing her words, I was certain the middle-aged woman is somewhat off. Yes, her apology seemed heartfelt, but it was clear she was apologizing for performing that curse ritual. It appeared she truly believed in the curse. Jun commented, "Back then, she was a terrifying figure, and I've been traumatized till now, but after talking, she just seems like some occult fanatic lady." It was as if a burden had been lifted, and he looked refreshingly relieved. I chimed in, "Yeah, we're bigger than her now anyway." "All right, that settles it. I'm heading home." "Sure, come by when you're free." We exchanged farewells, and I left the hospital for home. On my way back, I thought of Shin. I decided to share the story with him, thinking it might help him overcome that day's trauma. I immediately called a former soccer team member to get Shin's number and called him. "Hey, long time no see." Shin's familiar voice greeted me. After catching up, I told Shin about Jun's accident and hospitalization, that the middle-aged woman was working there as a cleaner, and how she seemed to have changed completely from before. Shin was astonished by the news of her apology. Finally, Shin suggested, "Once Jun is discharged, let's celebrate his recovery together." Of course, I agreed and promised to let him know as soon as Jun was ready. The next day, I informed Jun in the hospital. Shin said he'd come down as soon as you're discharged to celebrate your recovery. Jun was delighted by the news. A week passed without me visiting the hospital. The new school term had started, and finding time was difficult. Plus, with the middle-aged woman seemingly reformed, I wasn't as worried. I figured Jun would call if anything happened. One day, Jun called to announce, "I'm getting discharged next week." I congratulated him and inquired about the middle-aged woman, but he said, "She's just doing her job collecting trash. Nothing unusual." Another week passed, and Jun was discharged. I stopped by his house after school. Jun greeted me at the door with crutches, still wearing a cast but looking cheerful. We chatted in his room for a while. In the evening, I called Shin. "Jun's been discharged." "Really? Then we've got to celebrate his recovery." "I'm swamped with club activities, but I'll make it there by the end of the month." And so on the last Saturday of the month, Shin, Jun, and I met for the first time since elementary school. We gathered at a McDonald's near the station in the afternoon. Shin, despite it being winter, was tanned and slightly resembled a Jaruo. Aside from that, we talked about a lot, including high school life, love, and old memories. Of course, the middle-aged woman came up in conversation. The figure who once terrified us was now just a trash-collecting lady. As Jun and I shared the hospital incident with Shin, he laughed it off. If she attacked us now, we could just knock her out. The middle-aged woman had become a thing of the past for us, no longer a trauma. As evening approached, we headed to a karaoke box. Celebrating our reunion, we ordered alcohol, though it was just Chuhai. At that time, it was enough to get us buzzed. After 4 or 5 drinks each, we were all tipsy and had a great time singing at high spirits. 2 hours in, as we began to tire of singing, Shin made a suggestion. All right, let's go to our old secret base now. We'll pay our respects to Happy and Touch, whom we left behind back then. The air froze for a moment. Both Jun and I were at a loss for words, shocked by the unexpected proposal. Shin, perhaps a bit drunk, taunted us. Are you guys seriously scared? Ha ha! Jun, riled up by the alcohol, retorted, Who's scared? You picking a fight, Shin? Trying to defuse the situation, I said, Come on, stop it. Besides, Jun's still on crutches. Shin quickly joked, Oh right, can't run away on crutches, ha ha ha! Jun, getting even more worked up, insisted, Shut up, if you want to go, let's go. Just don't chicken out halfway, alright? And so, somewhat childishly, we decided to go, to pay respects to Happy and Touch. Perhaps because Shin and Jun were quite drunk and couldn't back down, we agreed to go. I had been thinking we should do it eventually, so this might be a good chance. With the 3 of us together, it wouldn't be as scary. Leaving the karaoke box, we stopped by a convenience store to buy umaibo and cola, favorites of the 2 pets, then took a taxi to my house to pick up some lighting equipment before heading to the hill behind the elementary school. The taxi driver looked at us suspiciously as we got out at the entrance to the hill. I was hit with a wave of nostalgia for the hill where we used to play, but also reminded of that day's events. To think we'd be entering here again late at night. Unaware of my feelings, Jun boldly led the way. Let's go in, he said, striding forward with his crutch, followed by Shin lighting the way with a laugh. Watch your step, Jun, I cautioned, following Shin. Once inside, I was surprised by how different the scenery looked, or perhaps it was us who had grown, making the landscape appear changed. As we climbed, Shin teased Jun, What if the middle-aged woman is here? I'd leave you behind and run, you know, though I'd run too. Surprisingly, we made smooth progress and reached that place in about 30 minutes. That place where we first encountered the middle-aged woman. We fell silent and slowly approached that tree with our lights, the tree where the middle-aged woman had performed her curse ritual. Close up and illuminated, it was just a normal large tree now, with no signs of the ritual. However, old nail marks were still visible, likely removed by the police. We stood silently, observing the nail marks for a while. Then Shin shone his light on the ground. Happy died around here, right? Though Happy's body was long gone, the spot was etched in our memories. I placed the umaibo and cola there, and we all paid our respects before moving on to Touch and the site of our secret base. On the way to the secret base, Jun remarked softly, Despite everything, it's nostalgic, isn't it? To which Shin added, Yeah, if we hadn't stayed at the secret base that night, we wouldn't have these bad memories. Indeed, had we not encountered the middle-aged woman, this hill would have remained our sacred place. Should be around here, Shin stopped. The site of the secret base was unrecognizable. Not a trace of the disassembled lumber remained. Jun silently knelt, placed the snacks and drink, and we all paid our respects. After a moment of silence, Shin said, Without Happy and Touch, we might not have been here today. Jun agreed. Right. In the end, even the middle-aged woman seemed to have changed. It's like we've finally been freed from the nightmare. Silence followed. Suddenly, Shin illuminated the surroundings and the pond. Looks like this place, once our secret, has been frequented by others too. We noticed snack wrappers and cans lying around, something that hadn't been there in our time. I mentioned, True, there was never any trash here before. Wonder if today's kids know about this place. Jun added, We always took our trash back with us in those days. Then Shin exclaimed, Whoa, what's this? Startled, Jun and I followed Shin's light. Trash was nailed to a tree. On closer inspection, numerous snack wrappers, cans, and magazines were nailed to the tree. What is this? Shin approached for a closer look, and we followed. Someone's prank? I wondered as I saw the trash meticulously nailed.
Then,
This, my trash, Jun said with a trembling voice frozen in place. What? Shin and I asked for clarification. Jun backpedaled. From the hospital. As he stammered, Shin ripped off one of the snack wrappers, causing Jun to collapse to the ground. We were stunned by his reaction, but then Shin dropped the wrapper he was holding, What? I looked at the wrapper, which had Jun Curse Death written on the back with a marker. I thought, impossible, and started ripping off other pieces of trash to check their backs. Jun Curse Death, Jun Curse Death. It was written on all of them. Jun was just sitting there, unable to move, mouth agape. Shin, picking up some of the surrounding trash, exclaimed, "Look at this!" It also had Jun Curse Death written on it. That's when I realized for the first time, the middle-aged woman hadn't reformed at all. She had been harboring resentment towards us all along. The trash she was sorting so desperately in the hospital, it was all Jun's. All her apologies were lies. A chill ran through me. We shouldn't be here. Instinctively feeling the danger, I told Jun, "Come on, get up, we have to go," but my trash. Jun was beyond reasoning. Shin and I had to carry him down the hill. 8 years have passed since that day, and of course we haven't returned to the hill nor seen the middle-aged woman. Does she still harbor resentment towards us? Are we still being watched from somewhere? However, the three of us are still alive, but to this day Jun cannot walk.